Hey everybody, we're going to do a quick video on the assembly of the new Sleek RC 1RC 1/18 scale trailer. So this particular trailer holds the what seems to be pretty popular 1RC 1/18 scale cars, oval cars. So I know they're pretty popular here in our area. So this is a video on how to do this trailer. I'll talk about a couple options as we go, but the main things probably that wheel adapters allow you to use the SCX 24 size wheels and tires. It also has adapters that lets you use the Kyosho Mini-Z 4x4 size wheels and tires, and then it's got a few oddball adapters that you can use for your own testing, maybe modifying for some wheels you have. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got all my parts and stuff laid out over here. This is the bag of screws and stuff, and the side panels come in here. They do come with masking, so these you'll want to pull the masking off of both sides before you install on the trailer. I'll go ahead and do that right now real quick. All right, so I'm just going to get my screws and stuff out here. It has some tail lights in here. You should have four of the large screws that'll be used, or the bolts for act as axles. Should have 8 bearings. Those will be used with the larger M3 bolts as well for the axles. You might want to go ahead and pick out, you should have some M2x10 cap head screws. I think there's about 8 of those, so I'll go ahead and get those picked out. I'm also using this video to verify that I have the correct number of screws and stuff too. So all the rest of them should be M2x6 size screws. So I'm just going to put them over here on my magnet. And there we go. While I've got these in hand, I'll go ahead and assemble the tail lights. If you notice, there's a notch on the back side of the tail light. They are opposite sides, so go ahead and assemble them like this. Take the notch on one, you'll see a notch on the tail light here, and just slide those together like so. It will take a 3mm LED light. That's what those notches are for, is to sort of help with wire management. So when you get done, it should look like this. We'll put them on the trailer when we assemble the frame. So I'll set those aside. So I'll start with, there's 2 long pieces here. If you notice, there's one side that has 3 holes, the other side has 1 hole. The 3 holes will be the front side of the trailer, so I'm just going to lay that down here. And then this is the tongue of the trailer. Has 3 holes there. I like to assemble the trailer upside down at first so we can get all the screws in the bottom. So we'll go ahead. Now the front, there's 3 holes there, but I only put 2 screws on each side. It doesn't really need all 3 screws on both sides. So when assembling, just check the sides to see if there's any kind of little gap right there. If you do have a little bit of a gap, you can give it just a slight twist don't crank down too hard on these screws, because we are talking about plastic and plastic. Metal screw will strip out the plastic if you're too aggressive with it, but you can tighten it down just a little bit and it will take that little bit of gap out. So still upside down. Oh, there we go. Still upside down. Gonna go ahead and take, there should be some flat cross braces. Those will go right here in these grooves. Put those in and then fasten them down with some M2x6 screws. Right now we're just using M2x6 screws, so we haven't got to the long ones yet. All right, tighten that one down just a little bit more. There we go. All right, actually now we can go ahead and take the wood piece and slide it in. Actually, I'm going to put the logo at the back. Should slide in all the way to the front. There we go. And then on the back, I'm going to take this piece here. It's got a couple notches and stuff. We're going to line that up with these holes. This is where the tail lights come in. So we're going to take the tail light. We're going to get a screw started in it. There you go. And that is just going to screw. I'm just throwing stuff all over the place. Right down here. There we go. And we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, and that pretty much completes that frame part. All right, next, tell you what, we'll go ahead and get the back gate started. So on the back, you'll have this piece here, sort of rounded, couple screw holes there, and they will slide. It will slide up from the bottom. Tell you what, actually, you need to assemble the gate first. So here, this is where you use the M2x10 longer screw. Go through here. Use a 1.5. Don't tighten it all the way down because this will need to move fairly freely, because that's how it lets the gate go up and down. Put one on each side. All right, there we go. You should be able to pull it out like so, rotate it. Oh, and I'll usually put the angled side towards the back of the trailer. So now this part, we are going to slide up into there. And then you'll see there's two holes back here. Line that up and put a couple screws in there that'll hold it in place. And again, just don't over tighten anything. Better for it to be a little loose than stripped out. So here we go. So the gate goes up and down, press it down and it stays, pull up and then it'll rotate down. So I'm just going to leave it like that for right now. All right, I'm going to set that aside. Now let's assemble the axles. What you'll see on the axles, you'll see there's a screw hole that's offset on the top side. So you want to keep that in mind. That's going to go to the outside of the trailer. So where this screw hole is, the tire is going to be on that side. So let's take the bearings and just press the bearings into the center. There you go. If you need to, you can also take a set of pliers and just make sure they're recessed. So again, keeping those holes in mind. I'm going to put the bearing through, or the bolt through here. The adapters, you'll see there's 5 adapters, one of them's a spare, that have little notches on the end. That's to fit the Kyosho wheels, and then the hex part will fit the SCX24 wheels. There's another one that just has a flat hex side, which will fit a SCX24 wheel. But this one you can maybe mess around with if you want to have a different brand or something and try to mount to it. But they both go on the same way, and there's 5 of each. So the long one's what we're going to use. You're just going to get that started on the bolt. It does have some threads printed into it, so it will help guide it in. And I'm just going to hold that other side, and usually what I do is I tighten it to where it doesn't quite move, and then I just back it off a little bit at a time until it moves fairly freely. I usually don't make them to where they spin completely free, but just depends on how loose you want. If they're too loose, then the wheels can tend to wobble. So that's one of those. I'm going to go ahead and do the other 4 real quick. Okay, so I've got all those assembled now. And now, let's go ahead and get them mounted to the underside. So flip the trailer over. You'll see there are some screw holes over here. We will take M2 by 6, the little screws. I'm just going to get some started here. All right, so got some screws started in here. I'm going to start with these towards the front. These 2 holes here. Again, just lightly screw those down. Back ones will go towards this back hole here and the one right in front of this cross brace, like so. So you should have a gap with a hole right there. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. All right. I've started now including a couple of extra little braces here. So I'm just going to get a couple of screws started. It's easier to get the screws started with just a little bit poking out the other side. All right, these cross braces, if you notice on the inside here, there's some holes. You can actually put these in any of these 4 holes. I just do a couple of braces because you don't really need a ton of them. You can put them in like so, or you can flip them around like so. Really, it's just to give a little bit of extra strength to the overall trailer, especially when you have load on the tires and stuff. So we're just going to sneak that in there, and then you probably need a long screwdriver similar to this one. Just tighten that up a little bit. Okay. All right. So now we will we're going to install the fenders. They're not side specific or anything, but there's 4 holes here. They should line up with the 4 outside holes on those axle blocks. Just take you some M2 6 screws. I usually like to just get most of my screws started in the part that I'm putting on, because it helps me not fumble around with the screw too much. All right, and just repeat that for the other side. Just be careful when you get to the second side, because you don't want to put too much force down on the other fender. I think I need to charge my screwdriver. Okay, so that completes most of the main trailer parts. So I'm going to set that aside while we assemble the tire rack. So the tire rack consists of a number of parts, and the first ones that we need are these are sort of the cross braces for the tire rack. There's sort of a skinnier one and one that's a little bit more substantial. Set the bigger one aside. This one has sort of a rounded slope on it, and these 2 little flares on the side. Those are going to go in between here where these holes are. Oh, and if you notice, this is the little tabs down here at the bottom. They're offset a little bit. The flat side is going to be the front of the tire rack. So you're going to want this flat side and the flat side of the tab, all that stuff lined up on this side. So we're going to take another M2x6 screw, put it in here. It should go nicely down into that little recess area. And you'll see why that's there here in a second. All right, so we've got that. Now we're going to take the side pieces. If you notice, the only difference between these sides, there's a little bitty recess here. It honestly doesn't really matter if you put it on one side or the other, but I just put that little recess in there just to countersink the screw a little bit. But this will actually, we need this for. So take your clear panel, you'll take some M2x10 screws and go ahead and get them started on that side piece. Change bits. There we go. I'm just going to get that barely through. Now The holes you're going to put the M2x10s through is going to be this top hole here, this bottom hole on the slant. Well, and then this bottom side here. Again, M2x10, the longer screws go here. Now we're going to use these two screws to attach it to the rest of the frame. Save this screw until we get the other side on. So again, we're just going to repeat on the other side. Okay, now I'm going to take that other piece that we omitted and we're going to install it here. Now we put these on the bottom hole. There's two holes on here, so you can actually use this to permanently affix it. But what I found with the 1RC wheels and tires is if you install it, the screw in this hole right here, it allows you to sort of rotate it in and out and release the wheels and tires a little easier. So I'm putting in the top hole of that. Tighten it, but release it just about a quarter of a turn. And then the same thing on the other side. You mainly want it to where you can rotate it a little bit. Tighten that down just a little bit. Tighten that just a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right, so that way you can put your tire in here and then sort of close it up. All right, the wheel chocks. If you notice, there's a little screw hole on one side. Go ahead and take an M2x6. All right, so I've got those. I'm going to set those aside. We're going to mount it to the trailer first. So the two little tabs that stick out the bottom, those will go down in the slots on the front of the trailer. Like so. Then on the sides, there will be a couple of the M2x6 screws. And one will go I should go through, there we go, through that hole, through that, into the actual trailer itself. Then we're going to take another one, put it in this far hole. And again, it should screw into the side of the trailer frame. And actually, you'll need a third one. I forgot to put one in this piece here. That'll hold the panel down so the end of it doesn't flap. And we'll repeat that on the other side. Now it's really just a matter of determining where you want to mount the wheel chocks at. I'm going to put one, I think, right in here. And I'll put another one right here. Put one corresponding there. Okay, and as far as mounting the wheels and stuff, again, SCX 24 wheels with the hex, they will bolt straight on here, like these here, and then the Kyosho Mini-Z 4x4 wheels will as well. They just mount on once you put them on there. Just put a screw through the wheel, and then that will hold them onto the hub. Okay, well, other than putting some wheels and tires on here, this is for a customer of mine, and put the car on. There we go. The only other thing I'll point out is, if you want to, you can actually widen this just a little bit, 4 millimeters on each side. The way you do that is these bearing blocks that we put together towards the beginning of the video, you know, the hole is to the outside. If you take this all apart, flip this around, then these holes will be sort of to the inside of the bearing block. Take the spare one and show you. So this is the way they're situated right now. If you flip that bearing hub around, if you notice, it puts it out about 4 millimeters on that side. The fender will still attach. Everything will still attach. These cross braces, you'll need to get some longer screws and spacers if you want to put these in. And I do recommend these braces because it keeps it from flexing very bad. Because the wider you get, the more it wants to flex. I didn't purposely design this to where you can make it wider, but it just happens to be the way the design worked out. You can. So that if you want to make it a little bit wider, but again, I do recommend getting some longer screws and put some spacers in there so you can mount those cross braces. But right now, I'm pretty sure pretty much all the 1RC cars will fit the trailer. It holds about close to, like, I know it holds 4, a full set of tires up front. I think it actually holds about 5, but and then I do make a lot of trailer hitches for different trucks, 1/18 scale, like the TRXs and the Atlases and stuff like that. So, and of course the SCX 24s. So so that way you can have something to pull it around. But I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully the video was helpful. If anybody has questions or whatever, feel free to post them in the comments, and enjoy. Thanks a lot.